excited to be one of the first people to show you the brand new Cricut AutoPress2 15x15 machine. This is their brand new heat press, and we're going to go over everything about it in this video. I'm Corinne Blackstone, and welcome to my craft room. Now, I want to say thank you to Cricut for gifting me this machine. You guys know I'm always 100% transparent about that, and that I only do review videos or videos that introduce you to new things if I can give my 100% true opinion. So in this video, they're allowing me to do that. I'm going to go over all the features of this machine throughout the video. We're going to press some projects. I'm going to press this. This is so cute. It's my favorite. But we're going to press a few projects with some different types of HTV because I know that you guys want to know, how does it work with DTF? How's it going to work with puff HTV? What about regular HTV? You're going to get to see it all, and we're going to go over how to set this up. We're going to go over how to change the settings on it. It's really, really fun. But one feature that I think is really cool is that the control panel for this is actually like a piece of its own. It is plugged into the machine, but you're able to move it around. So maybe you like to keep it down on the table. Maybe like me, you like it on top of the machine. You can put it on the other side. You can put it behind the machine. However you want to store that is great and use it. So it's a really handy tool. Now again, we're going to go over some fun things about this machine. So without further ado, let's get started where we can talk about the Cricut AutoPress2 15x15.
First, let's show you the machine. This is your Cricut AutoPress2 15x15 heat press. It comes in this really pretty blue color. It also comes with a heat press mat, and you can see it's dark blue, light blue, super cute. There's an on indicator light in the front, and then this is the area between your pressing plate and the back of the machine. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the future of this video. And then if you come around the back of your machine, this is where you're going to see two plugs. The one plug is already in there. That's the electrical plug that plugs into your wall so that you can actually turn your machine on. The plug next to it is the control box, and that one you will plug into the machine. Your control box can sit anywhere that you want to, and I'll give you a little bit more of an in-depth tour of this control box, but it has two dials and the power button located on it. You'll see that you have the temperature, the time, and the pressure here on the box. Then you can press one button, which is the one on the right, and that can lower your plate. And you can also raise your plate when you press it the second time. Now, like I said, I'll go over that a little bit more so that you can see more. But what I love is this pull-out drawer, and it pulls out pretty far. And then when you push it in, it will lower if you have it set to the automatic setting. And I'll show you how to do that, so don't worry. What I love about this is that it's really smooth, it doesn't make a lot of noise, and it's really, really easy to use. Once it's done counting down, it will lift automatically for you, so you don't have to do anything if you've got automatic selected. Now, for this, one thing they've really updated is you can connect this via Bluetooth and use it with their app. What's cool about this is it pairs really quickly to Bluetooth, and then you're able to set all of your settings on your mobile device, whether you're using an iPad, an Android phone, an Apple phone, whatever you may have. It's really, really handy. You can set the time, the temperature, and the pressure, but you can also set this to preset settings for using with Cricut materials. Now, keep in mind, again, this is only going to be presets for Cricut brand materials. If you're using other materials, you can set it via the top section that I just showed you or on the actual control panel. You can use this without using Bluetooth, so don't worry if for some reason you don't have a mobile device. You don't need it, but it is a nice, handy little tool. With the app, you're going to be able to select what type of iron-on you're using, plus the base material, whether it's 100% cotton, polyester, whatever it may be, and then it'll set the time, temp, and the pressure for you. Then you'll have it so that you can do your pre-press. Now, this is my favorite. Wait to see the cute little wiggly line. I just think that's a cute little thing that they've added, but it'll do everything for you here on the screen, and it'll tell you when it's complete, and it lifts up. Then it gives you the directions on placing your iron-on design, and then when you go ahead and press it again, this time it will press for like your full press. And it gives you all the information of everything that you need. Now let's say, you know what, I think I picked the wrong material. You can very easily go back in, choose the right material for what you're using, and it will set it for you. So if I'm using infusible ink, if I'm using flock iron-on, if I'm using metallic iron-on, whatever it may be, it'll set it for you. So you can see here for sublimation, it's 400 degrees, pre-press for 5 seconds at 220 pressure. So when I pre-press my design, That's just going to press it to get out any wrinkles or moisture. So it's going to go ahead, let you know that it's closing the press. And again, that cute little wiggly line comes up, and that's just going to pre-press for you. Now, my press isn't fully heated up. And you can see at the top, and I don't know how you can see it, but there's a little indicator that tells you where, like, how hot it is. I just wanted to show you how this works. But now you can see it's going to count down that 60 seconds on my mobile device. Now, what's great about this is it's super easy to use, super intuitive, and it shows you everything that you need. Once it's done, it'll give you any directions that you need here on screen. So it's a super handy tool to have. But again, don't fret if for some reason you don't have a mobile device or you don't want to use this. You don't have to. You can control everything with the little control panel. But you can see here, you can just click the negative and it'll turn it down. You can turn down your pressure from here. You can turn down your temperature. So you really have full control over your machine. I'm going to show you around this control panel really quick. So the very top number is your temperature, and you can change from Fahrenheit to Celsius. You can see the number 1, that just indicates that I'm on the first preset setting, which you can change via the dial on the right-hand side. The S is seconds, and that's set to 15. The A means that I have the auto press on, and then 220 is our pounds. You can adjust all of these using the dial on the left, and I'll show you in more detail. You can also see the power button in the upper left-hand corner. Turning your press on and off is super easy. Just use this power button on the control box. Turn it on and turn it off the exact same way. Now, if you want to adjust anything here, you can use the dial on the left. You can adjust your time, your temp, your pressure, all from there by just turning the dial. Once you've selected the temp that you want, you can just click it, and then it'll go down to seconds. And then you click it again to get to your pressure. And then you can just click it again to set everything. The dial on the left is all those preset settings, but it is also how you push the top down. But you'll notice there's no A here. That means the automatic is off. To turn automatic pressing on, you're going to press this left button down for like 5 seconds, and you'll wait until the A shows up on the screen. Now, auto press is engaged.
One of the biggest questions I know that we're going to get on this machine is, can it do DTF prints? So I have one set up here on my press and ready to go. This is just a plain old DTF, nothing too crazy. I have my control box set for 310 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 seconds with the highest pressure possible, which is 220 pounds. That's one thing that's really new about this press, of course, is that we can adjust the pressure. Now, I have it set to automatic, so what I'm going to do is slide this in, and once it hits the back, you'll see the top plate will go down. And like I said, I've got this set to the highest pressure, so this is going to press pretty heavy, but that's what you need for DTF, and that's one thing that is a big improvement, is being able to change your pressure. Once it's finished, it'll go ahead and lift itself up, and you can pop the drawer out, just pull it out. Now with my DTF prints, I prefer to peel them cold or at least cool. So I'm going to let this cool down a little bit before I peel this, and then we'll go ahead and do a second press. Now, one thing I will say, I do highly recommend using some sort of a Teflon sheet or a parchment paper between your press and your design. I don't necessarily do that the first time I press my DTF prints, so I'm going to use some parchment paper for the second one. I've let this cool down quite a bit, so we'll go ahead and peel the carrier sheet, which is just the plastic sheet that goes on your DTF prints. Now, like I said, this time I am going to put some parchment paper between the press and the design. You want to really do this every time, but with DTF for me, I just don't necessarily have to do it the first time. Now, also, if you're somebody like me who's so used to having it attached to your press, I would just put a little bit of like painter's tape and hold a sheet on here, just on the outside. That's going to really save you like forgetting to do it. Now this, again, we pressed with that heavy pressure. Once it pops up again, we can pull this out and take off our parchment paper, and now our design is on our shirt. I just did this really cute lacy ghost. I'll link it down below if you want to use it. It's very, very cute. But this pressed really, really well. I'm going to fold this up just real quick just so I can get a better look at it and just see how it looks like it pressed. But honestly, it feels really good. It feels nice and smooth. I didn't have any lifting, and this one has like a lot of really, really small details in it, and it looks so nice. So this one, I would say, definitely great for DTF prints. Now I do just want to press one more with you guys because this is so quick and easy, but I'm going to do my shirt this way just so I can get it a little more centered, easier for myself, because going sideways was not so easy. Now normally, like I said, I would stand over here, but because I want you to see the press, if I turned it sideways, you'd miss out on a lot of the press itself, and we definitely don't want that. So I'm going to use this cool design on this. Now I always fold them in half if I can, and I just give them a little crease so I can see where the center is on that design. 3 fingers down from the collar, and then I'm going to get it all nice and straight and even on the shirt. Now, like I said, can you do it off the press? Absolutely, you can. Just use some heat tape if that's easier for you. Like this one, I really want to make sure because this one's really big. So I think I'm going to do this one off of the press. So I'm going to move this, and if you don't want it to push in, so you've got it set on automatic, just don't push the drawer all the way back. I've got it set out a little bit. If I push it all the way back, it's going to automatically press. Now, if I want it to stop pressing, I can just hit the button that's on the little control box and bring it back up. But you can just not push the door in all the way. That's another option. And that's one thing I like about this is you do have that option to turn that on or off. It's really up to you. Being an automatic press and having the option to change it up is so nice. I'm going to grab my heat tape. I recommend every crafter have some heat tape. It's such a handy tool, and this heat tape dispenser is great. It cuts the tape for me. So I'm going to get this all lined up and straight to where I'm happy. And you never want to use the tag on your shirt to line it up. I don't know if you guys can see, my tag is all the way over to the side. Not all shirt companies put the tags direct center, and not all of them are going to necessarily be perfectly centered, even if they are in the center. So never use the tag to center anything. Use the collar and the sleeves. That's how you're going to make sure you get the most centered design. All right, I'm pretty happy with where that's sitting. So I'm going to take some heat tape and I'm just going to tape it down. Now, again, I just do this so that it doesn't move when I move it to my press. And normally my press wouldn't be sitting on my table here. So it is like a little awkward because I don't have as much space to work. But when I do this, what I do is I fold my shirt up around my design, and I'm going to go ahead and pull my drawer out of my press, and you're going to set your shirt on this. Now, like I said, you can set it really any direction, whatever works best for you, where you're standing, what you're doing. So I'll put it in sideways, because it really does not matter. I always make sure it's good and smooth. Now again, when you press a DTF print, you want a heavy pressure. Just gonna make sure all the wrinkles are kind of out of it so it's not gonna end up wrinkled. Looks good, so let's go ahead and push it in. I've got this set again to 310 for 10 seconds with 220 pressure. So it's gonna press that, and once it's done, it'll automatically lift. So what's great about the automatic lift is that if I'm doing something else or I walk away for a second, I don't have to automatically come and pick it up. The other thing that's great about automatic presses is if for some reason you can't lift a normal press, this is a great option for you because it does it all for you. Now again, I'm gonna let this cool down. I'll peel this off. I'll show you what it looks like, and we're gonna press a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna share a little secret with you. I actually use a wood cutting board to help cool these down a little bit faster, and that's completely something that you can do, which I think will be really helpful. Now I'm gonna go ahead and peel this off again. And we do need to press it a second time. That's just the directions for our DTF. And I'm going to go ahead and smooth this back out since I did pick it up. Again, I'm going to put that parchment paper so that it covers my full design. Slide this in and let this automatically press down. Again, once it's done, it's going to automatically lift so you can be doing something else. Pull this out. Our shirt is complete and it's really cute. My camera battery died, but this is a Comfort Colors shirt. Look how stinking cute. That came out so good. The press on this is really, really nice. So let's go ahead. I'm going to cut out some different types of HTV because I know that you want to see how this is going to perform with some other types of HTV. I know a major concern with auto presses are, can you do sweatshirts? So I've got a pretty heavy sweatshirt. This is the Gildan Heavy Blend. So this is a bit of a thicker shirt. Now I will say my main complaint with auto presses is the issue of the hood in the back. I think we're still gonna have that issue with this one as well because there is not a ton of space in the rear for a hood to go. So if you wanted to put your shirt on this way so that you were looking at it the right direction if you're standing at the back of your press, I just simply don't think that this is really going to work. I've got a lot of space to shove this hood. So one way to get around that is to actually just flip your sweatshirt so that it goes the other way. So you can do it with the sleeve in the back, but again, the sleeve kind of gets in the way. So what I've kind of discovered that works a little bit better for me is I actually do it fully backwards. Now that sound told us it was fully heated up. It heats up so quickly. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to put the pocket portion into the back of the press. That's going to work a little bit better for this. Now you want to make sure you got your strings out of the way, your arms are out of the way, all of that. Now we are layering. We're going to be doing this really cute little goose. So he's got technically 4 total layers, but I'm going to be able to layer it in 3, so it should go pretty easily. So if you're layering, remember you only press those designs for just a few seconds. So I'm going to press this in and it should go automatically. Once it's down, I'm going to let it press for just a second and then I'm going to press to take it up. So I just push that little dial on my box. That way it just comes right up. Now let's see how well this worked. It should do fine. Yeah, that worked all right. We're good. Now when I layer, I do prefer to allow the layer underneath to cool a little bit before I put the next one on. It helps prevent any of that bubbling that you'll see sometimes. The next layer we're going to press is the white layer. I'm just going to get this lined up onto our design. Now what's nice about HTV is you can move it around if you need to, like once you put it down. I think I've got him just a little high, so I'm going to move him down. And you just want to make sure that he's lined up well onto your black to where you're happy. Now again, we're only going to press this layer for just a second or two. So press it in. It's going to auto press, but to unpress it, we're going to let it press for a second and we're going to press that button right there. That'll let us lift it. Now you can also just do this manually as well if you prefer, but the auto's fine for this, especially since you can cancel the press. I don't honestly love what happened here, and I have to be honest with you, the white vinyl that I used felt a little different, so it may need to be a cool peel product. Some of them are, and that's okay. So I'm gonna let this cool down before I peel it because the forehead was coming off a little bit funky. So let me let this cool off and then we'll peel it. I have a feeling what I put down might have been the white adhesive, but that's okay. It's still gonna get us the idea, but it's definitely not sitting smooth. But that's a me issue. Now, I will say one thing I don't love about presses like this is I don't have my Teflon sheet attached. So if you had noticed, I completely forgot to put a sheet on top of it. I'm not used to having to do that. So if you are like me, you'll want to make sure you always have that next to you. Now I'm going to lay my next layers and we're just going to hope that the white holds up. I'm not sure. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. It's okay. It'll be fine. She'll still get the idea, and I'm sure this press works great for layering. So we're going to go ahead and put this on. Now again, definitely putting the parchment paper over this. We're going to push this in, and for this press, we'll do the entire length of the press of 10 seconds. Now once it's done, you'll hear a little light beep. It's very quiet. I love how quiet this machine is. Like, even when pressing down, it's not super loud. I'm going to take this out and we're going to pull this Teflon or the parchment paper back. Oh my gosh, you guys. The white HTV was definitely not the correct HTV. I really messed this up, but that's okay. He still looks cute. I just don't know how well the white's going to hold up. But that's all right. I'll give you guys an up-close look at everybody once we're done, and you'll see kind of what I mean by the white. But look, it's still really cute. And honestly, like, the press did a great job as far as like fitting this under it. This is, like I said, a pretty heavy hoodie, and it's pretty thick. I would just say do pocket in instead of hood in, because the hood is so big and just bulky, where this has a little bit more give to it. But it did come out pretty ding-dang cute. We're going to press on to this Bella canvas shirt. This is 100% cotton, I believe. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure that it is. I could be way wrong. Nope, it is 100% cotton. So I am going to pre-press this really quick. Like, I don't care if it's not even on my board here, because I just want to get some of those wrinkles out. And again, it'll just auto press. Now when you're pressing wrinkles out, you can literally just press it for a couple seconds or let it go the full press. I'm just going to go ahead and release that since I don't need to do a full press on it. But that's going to get any moisture out or any wrinkles that you might have on your shirt. And like I said, these ones have been sitting for a while, so it's best to get anything out of them. Again, folding that in half. We're going to place this on the shirt, 3 fingers down from the collar. Now I do still have this on that medium pressure because I'm still using the vinyl, the HTV that requires that. So that should be good. Now I'm just gonna pick this up and double check to make sure that I'm happy with the way it's sitting. I am. Now I don't know if I love this color combo, but this is actually a color combo my friend selected because I make a lot of shirts and I don't always have, you know, a reason to wear them. So I sometimes will make stuff for my friends for these videos. So this is her color combo, and if she likes it, that's all that matters. So again, press that in. Now again, I did go sideways on this, and I want to point out something to you. See, I pushed the drawer in, but nothing happened. I didn't get the drawer all the way in. So if you'll notice, like sometimes it's not the press, it's me. So you want to make sure your drawer goes all the way in, and it's going to feel like it kind of clicks into a spot. And when it does that is when it will press down. So if it's not going in all the way, make sure you've pressed your drawer fully in. I wanted to make sure you could hear the sound of it pulling up. The other thing I like is that when it's not pressing down or anything, there's zero noise from this machine. So that's really nice. I'm gonna go ahead and peel this. Actually, I don't mind the color combo. I don't think that's too bad. I kind of like it. It's cute. It's definitely a little more on the pink side. And I don't know how well you guys can see it because it is kind of close to that same color, but I like it. I think that's really fun. She's gonna enjoy that shirt a lot. Now this is one I know that you guys have a lot of questions on, and that is Puff HTV. Puff HTV can definitely be one that's a lot harder to work with. Now I do need to turn my press temperature down with the little panel. So in order to do that, I can just twist my dial backwards and turn it to 280. This is going to be at 10 seconds, and then pressure is a medium pressure, but I do think I'm going to turn it up just a little bit to 150. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to let my press cool, and while my press cools, I'll go ahead and I'm going to pre-press my shirt. That's one thing that's super important when you do puff. You want to make sure your shirt is pre-pressed and wrinkle and moisture free. That can help a lot with your puff issues because I know a lot of people end up with what I like to call the brain puff, and you don't want the brain puff. That's not correct. So I'm going to let this press this, and it'll actually help it cool down a little bit too because the cool t-shirt will cool down your press a little quicker. Now I'm just going to let this press for that full time and just let it go. It's actually already cooled down. Like I said, it would cool down really quickly, which is so nice. I'm going to pull this out, and I do like to let my shirt cool a bit before I place my Puff HTV. Now here's the really important directions. You want to follow your Puff HTV directions to the letter. So I'm using Caesar Metallic Puff for this, which is one that I find I run into a lot more issues with than the regular puff, which is why I wanted to do this. So you're going to press this at 280 degrees for 8 to 10 seconds with a medium pressure. Once it's done pressing, take it out. You're going to peel off your carrier sheet. Then you're going to put your carrier sheet back down, and you're going to press it one more time for 8 to 10 seconds. So this one does have a little bit of a different directions than others, which is why I say it's really important to check those direction settings. Now for this, again, I'm going to go about 3 fingers down from the collar, and then this one's a little harder to center because he's got kind of an odd shape, but that's okay. He'll be fine. I think that looks pretty good, and I just noticed I missed weeding a spot. I always want to recommend that you double check your weed before you finish and press because, like me, you might have missed a little spot. So I missed a teeny tiny spot. It probably wouldn't have made that much of a difference, but with puff, it would be really obvious that there was a seam there. So we definitely don't want that. Now it's also super important that we cover it with our parchment paper. Yes, I did forget on the last shirt. Like I said, I'm gonna forget because I'm so used to having it attached. I do think that I'm going to get a Teflon sheet for this, and I'm just going to use a little bit of tape because this is plastic, and I'm just going to tape it to the top of the press so that I don't have to constantly think about it because for me, that's something I'm not used to. So let's go ahead and press this. I have the press set for 10 seconds. The timer doesn't start until it's physically pressed down. Now I'm going to try to get it so you can hear the beep. It's a really quiet beep, it's a really quiet lift, and a quiet drop, which I love. So we'll go ahead and pull this out. Now remember, we want to peel the carrier sheet hot, and it's going to look a little funny. That's okay. It's not to be, anything to be freaked out about. It's going to look a little funny for your first press, and it's not going to look super puffy. Now remember, it says to place the carrier sheet back down, and try to do the best you can. I cut mine pretty close to my design, so I did the best I could. I'm going to go ahead and place this back down, and then we're going to go ahead and press it one more time for that 10 seconds. Like I said, the fact that this press is super quiet is really impressive to me. I have others that are very, very loud, and I like this one. I could use it in the middle of the night and I don't think it would bother anybody, which is really, really nice. So let's go ahead and pull this out. You're gonna pull this off. You're gonna pull that carrier sheet off again, and it's gonna puff. Now it's gonna maybe take a moment to puff. I do notice that mine, as it cools, it will puff a little bit more. But look at how fun, and it's metallic and it's puffy. So yes, I would say that this press can absolutely do a puff HTV, because I think it did such a nice job on this one. And metallic for me is the one that really gives me the most trouble. And I think it's so cute with a little balloon dog. This was so easy. Now I do want to try sublimation, because I know that's one that you're going to want to try. For sublimation, we need to turn this up a lot hotter than what it is currently. So we're gonna go ahead and adjust this. So I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see this, but what you'll do is you're gonna adjust your heat, and our heat needs to go up to 400 degrees. This can actually go all the way up to 410. We just need 400. Then we need to press this button, and for our time, this needs to go to 60 seconds. So I'm just gonna scroll through until I hit 60, but I'll show you that this is gonna go up really, really high. This can go up super duper long. So let me just, trust me, it goes for a while. You can set a really long timer on this. I have not had to do anything that would probably require this much time, but you can see the timer goes really high. We're already at like 266, which is way more than we need. So let me take it back down to the 60 seconds that we do need. Now with sublimation, you do want to use a little bit higher pressure. So again, once we've got it down to the time that we need, press the dial, and that'll allow you to up your pressure. Now my pressure for this, I'm gonna put it at like 190, and then I'm gonna let this heat up. Now it's gonna heat up really quickly. We're already at 280 now, so I think to 400 will heat up pretty fast. So while we wait for that to heat up, I'm gonna go ahead and get my polyester shirt out. Now with sublimation or infusible ink, you're gonna want to use full polyester for the best color results. I'm also gonna be fully transparent with you. I'm having a lot of printer issues. My red ink is not working very well, so my colors are probably not going to be as good or as vibrant as I want them to be. But I spent 3 hours trying to fix it, and I just finally had to give up and say, you know what, that's good enough. We're just going to have to deal. I'll fix it another day. Now what I'm doing is I'm placing some blowout paper, or in this case, this is just parchment paper sheets, inside of my shirt. The reason I do this is that your ink can actually leak through the back of your shirt. So you want to make sure that you have something protecting it. Now this is our little design, so I want to get it onto my shirt, and I have it centered on my paper, so centering it on the shirt should be fairly simple. I'm just gonna look it down, looks good. And then you want another piece of parchment paper, butcher paper, something between your press and your paper, because the ink can come through the back of your paper and then it can get on your press, which means that it can actually dye your press itself. And then what are you gonna do? You're gonna be in trouble because you're gonna have ink on your press, and you don't want that because it can transfer to other projects. Now we're already at 329, so I'm gonna let this finish heating up for just another minute, and then we'll be able to press. This is almost up to temp, and the other thing I wanna mention is that I know with some heat presses, you can hear the heating element heating up, and with this one, you can hear it a little bit, but it's not loud at all. The other thing that I really like, and I have neglected to mention so far, is that this gives super even heat. Where I've noticed many presses have like cold spots, especially around the edges, this one doesn't seem to. Now this sublimation print should help us show that off pretty well, because sublimation really needs like an even heat. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in. Now I am gonna go slowly with this, and actually I think my sleeve got stuck a little bit. It did. That's okay. We will just adjust. So there are little rails here, and you just want to make sure that whatever you're pressing in isn't in front of those rails. Mine was, but I'm going to go slow with this so that I don't mess up where the paper's sitting. Press this in. Now this one is going to take 60 seconds to press. So we're going to let this press, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's all finished. Now that it's done, we can go ahead and pull this out. And this is going to be pretty warm. I would recommend, if you are not good with like hot things, wear some gloves, but I'm okay. It'll be fine. I'm going to pull this out. I did get some ghosting, which is like if the image shifts or anything, but I think it was my printer issue more so than anything with the press, because I printed something and it was definitely messed up with the print. But again, I couldn't do anything about that. But this works so well with sublimation. I wish I had some prints. I'm trying to get that paper out. I wish I had some prints that were still good, but I don't. But you could totally use infusible ink. I sadly don't have any infusible ink right now, or I would bring some out and show you. But I still think it worked pretty well, even with the non-red working with my sublimation design. Now, if you're interested in getting this press, I'm going to link it down below. This bad boy is exclusive on Amazon. So you can get the Cricut AutoPress2 15x15 on Amazon, which means quick shipping. I absolutely think this press is great. I think it's worth the cost, and I do think it's really well built. What are some of the things that I really like about it? Number one, I do really like that I can move the control panel, whether I want it sitting on top of it or next to it. That for me is really nice, because this is a little bit big to keep on my work table, but if I put it on like my Alexa drawers from IKEA, this isn't really going to fit next to the machine, but it will fit perfectly on top. I also like how quiet it is. It's currently on and it is heating, and there's really no noise. It's also pretty quiet when it presses. And when it lifts, which for me is super important. I do find that if I have a press that is very, very noisy, especially the auto presses, I do tend to get a headache, and it means that I can't work and craft as long as I would like to. But this is very, very quiet. I don't have any smell coming off of it either, which I think is really nice. The other thing that's really great is this is 15 by 15. So it is a very large press where you're going to be able to make larger designs without having to piece them together or guess if you're getting them all pressed. Now, if you're interested in getting this press, I'm going to link it down below. This bad boy is exclusive on Amazon. So you can get the Cricut AutoPress2 15x15 on Amazon, which means quick shipping. I absolutely think this press is great. I think it's worth the cost, and I do think it's really well built. What are some of the things that I really like about it? Number one, I do really like that I can move the control panel, whether I want it sitting on top of it or next to it. That for me is really nice, because this is a little bit big to keep on my work table, but if I put it on like my Alexa drawers from IKEA, this isn't really going to fit next to the machine, but it will fit perfectly on top. I also like how quiet it is. It's currently on and it is heating, and there's really no noise. It's also pretty quiet when it presses. And when it lifts, which for me is super important. I do find that if I have a press that is very, very noisy, especially the auto presses, I do tend to get a headache, and it means that I can't work and craft as long as I would like to. But this is very, very quiet. I don't have any smell coming off of it either, which I think is really nice. The other thing that's really great is this is 15 by 15. So it is a very large press where you're going to be able to make larger designs without having to piece them together or guess if you're getting them all pressed. I also love that you can adjust the pressure on it. That's super important, and something that the first press was really missing for people, especially when now we're pressing things like DTF, Sublimation, Puff HTV, so many things that require different press settings for the pressure. This one you don't have to guess. It's really easy to do. Now, one little downfall, but I do think this is just a really common downfall, is that space behind the machine. And it does make it a little more difficult when you're pressing something that's heavier like a sweatshirt, but there are ways around it and we can work with it. I just think that's something that is pretty industry standard. There's just not a lot of space in the back. Now, I do love how lightweight the drawer is. I don't feel like I'm having to shove this really, really hard, especially to get it to click into place. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on that, and it clicked into place no problem. Again, I can easily cancel the press if I'm just pressing for like layers, or maybe I'm like, oh no, I don't need it to press. It's super easy to do. And honestly, the settings on this are super simple. Now, if you have any questions about this press or anything else that you want to see me make with it, please let me know in those comments down below. And don't forget that you can find a link to the brand new Cricut AutoPress2 15x15 heat press down below in the video's description, exclusive with Amazon. Again, thank you, Cricut, for trusting me to show everybody this press and allowing me to give my 100% honest review. As you guys know, that's something that's so important to me, because if I don't like something and I don't think it's worth it, I'm gonna tell you, but this one is a really nice quality press. I've had it for quite a while and I really do like it. I've done a lot with it and it really feels like it's going to hold up. I absolutely think this is a great quality product and I can't wait to see what you guys all create. I hope you all have a wonderful day and as always, happy crafting.